Hi, we're just going to talk about a few trig identities which are useful. Now, I've listed them on the front page, and then I'll go through the proofs and some examples. So the first one, excuse me, sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. Second one, tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta. Third one, the gradient of a line is the same as tan theta. And the last one, sine theta equals cos 90 minus theta, and cos theta equals sine 90 minus theta. That could also be written as sine, get rid of that, pen, sine theta equals cos pi on 2 minus theta if you're in radian mode. Cos theta equals sine pi on 2 minus theta if you're in radian mode. Okay, so let's look at proofs and some examples. Okay, so the first proof is quite easy. We've got the unit circle. The green line is the length of sine. This is the angle of theta. The horizontal is the length of cos. And from Pythagoras, a squared plus b squared equals h squared. The hypotenuse is 1, so that's 1 squared. So sine theta squared plus cos theta squared equals 1. And then the short way of writing that is just to put the 2, the squared sign in between. So sine squared theta is sine theta squared. So sine squared theta is the same as sine theta squared, etc. So that's the proof. Let's have a look at some examples. Okay, so the first one's if sine x equals 4/5, and so that tells us we're in the first quadrant, so all ratios are positive. Okay, that's what that tells us. So sine x equals 4/5. So we know that, so I just write down sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. So therefore cos squared equals 1 minus sine squared equals 1 minus sine is that, so it's 4/5 squared, which is 1 minus 16 over 25, which is 9 over 25. So cos squared equals that. So cos equals plus or minus the square root of that. And because all are positive, we just take the positive. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 25 is 5. Okay, next example. Cos theta is negative, and we get this information. Now this information tells us we're in the third quadrant because we're between 180 and 270, and in the third quadrant sine is a negative. Okay, so we've got sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. So sine squared equals 1 minus cos squared, which is 1 minus 3/5 squared. 1 minus a negative squared is a positive, so it's 9 over 25 equals 16 over 25. So sine equals plus or minus the square root of 16 over 25. But sine is a negative, so we just take the negative. So the answer is negative square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5. So the answer is minus 4/5. Okay, there'll be a worksheet for you to practice. Okay, look at the next one. Okay, the next thing we're trying to prove that sine over cos equals tan. That's what we're trying to prove. So the proof is, we know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse and cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So if I put sine over cos, I put opposite over hypotenuse over adjacent over hypotenuse. So we leave the numerator as it is, and we multiply by the reciprocal, so the hypotenuse comes to the top and the adjacent comes down. The hypotenuse crosses out, so therefore it's opposite over adjacent, and opposite over adjacent is tan theta. So therefore, sine theta over cos theta always equals tan theta. Alright, so let's move along to examples. Okay, if sine theta equals 3/5, and again we're in the first quadrant, so all the ratios are positive. And it says find tan theta. So we know that sine over cos equals tan, so I've got to find cos and then I can find tan. So sine squared plus cos squared equals 1, so cos squared equals 1 minus sine squared, which is 1 minus, so we've had these numbers before, 1 minus 9/25 equals 16/25. So cos equals plus or minus the square root of 16/25, but we're positive, so we just take the plus. So it ends up being 4/5. So sine over cos, sine equals 3/5 divided by 4/5. And when you put that in the calculator, you get 3/4. So that means that tan equals 3/4. Okay, copy that, come across. Okay, the next one we want to prove is the gradient of a line equals tan theta. So we start off, the angle is here. That's the opposite side, but the opposite side is also the rise. That's the adjacent side. The adjacent side is also called the run. Okay, so tan theta, which is opposite over adjacent, and the gradient of a line equals the rise over run. So that means that opposite over adjacent equals the rise over the run. So tan theta equals the gradient. Okay, so tan theta equals the gradient of the line. We don't copy that, copied on the first page. Look at an example. Okay, what angle does y equals 2x minus 5 make with the y-axis? So there's my line, y equals 2x minus 5. And we're looking for what angle that is. So tan theta equals the gradient. The gradient equals 2. So therefore theta equals tan minus 1, 2. And I'm just going to pause this and go and get my calculator. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'm back. So I go, make sure my calculator's in degree mode. Shift tan 2, close the bracket, equals degrees in seconds. So it's 63 degrees, 26 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay, so that's another fundamental thing. So that's that one. And the last one, we're trying to prove that sine theta equals cos 90 minus theta. Okay, so I've got a triangle with theta on this corner here, and so this angle up here must be 90 minus theta because the three angles add to 180. So theta plus 90 minus theta plus 90. 90 plus minus theta plus minus theta cancels out. 90 plus 90 equals 180. So what that proves is this angle here is 90 minus theta. Like if that's 20, that must be 70. Okay, so here's how we prove it. So looking at the angle theta, sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. But from this angle up here, 90 minus theta, if I look at cos, I've got the adjacent, which is that side just there, over the hypotenuse. But the opposite blue equals the green adjacent, which means that these two must be equal. Okay, so sine theta equals cos 90 minus theta, and vice versa, cos theta equals sine 90 minus theta. Let's look at a quick example. Okay, so again, this information tells us first quadrant, so therefore all are positive. Okay, so if I've got sine 20, that means that theta must be 70, because 20 plus 70 equals 90. Okay, if I've got 80, then theta must be 82, because 8 plus 82 equals 90. That's the answer. Alright, thanks for coming. Bye.